and you are on the lifeboat. Glad that you're here. Let's see something here. I don't see enough shine on my dome. Let's up. There you go. That's the spirit. Let me kill this phone here, and we'll call it a day. So, welcome to my day off. Because it is my day off, I'm going to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and I am not on a rant, people. That is not what I'm here to do. This is a completely different show, so if you think you've seen this one before, trust me, you haven't. We know that this is a crisis. It is a growing epidemic in this country. It's really, really serious. And the problem is that the way that we're handling it and the way that we're talking to our kids is antiquated. You know, sadly, a lot of people are going to see this. They're going to listen to 2 seconds of it and they're going to bail. And then they're going to go watch cat videos. Or they're going to go look at other things that they find entertaining. The sad reality, and I almost put this in into the title. Mr. Wolf, good to see you. I almost put this in the title, but I'm not trying to offend people and I'm not trying to scare people. I'm really not. But the title should have been Educate Your Kids or Get Ready to Bury Them. And that's horrendous. It's not something that you ever want to have to write down. But it's where we are right now in this country. Can I get a 5x5? It's where we are currently in this country. I did a short today where I talked about the difference briefly. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate you. I did a short today where I talked a little bit about the difference between opiates and opioids. And you guys know the difference. Piper, good to see you. So this is really what it comes down to. Today, 350 people are going to die from this stuff. Every single one of their parents told them to just say no to drugs. Every single one of their parents told them, whatever you do, don't do fentanyl. The scary reality of the world that we live in today is that no one knows they're doing fentanyl. You know, there are places in this country, and I talk to people who are still using, and there are places in this country where you buy powder in very bright colors, and you know that powder is not heroin or any other substance. You're very aware of the fact that you're buying fentanyl. But that's not how the vast majority of this is being sold. And I'm going to use fentanyl today as the drug that we're talking about. But realistically, it's one of a myriad of drugs that are now really taking a hold of our country. Isonitazine, phytonitazine, all kinds of other substances are coming across our southern border. And they're being brought in liquid form, and then they're being reconstituted and pressed into pills. So it's talking to your kids these days. And when I say talking to your kids, if you're listening to me and you're saying, my kids are 25, 350 people died today in this country from this poison. They had parents. They were somebody's kids. And I don't care if they were 20 or 50. I don't care if you don't have kids, but you got nieces and nephews. I don't care what the situation is, because you don't want to go to a funeral, whether it's your child or your friend's child or anything else. You understand? This is how real this is, people. There's no way to to make this any scarier than it is, because it doesn't friggin' need to be any scarier than it is. True story. 2 minutes before going live today, I got a message sent to me, and it was from Ilea. Ilea is great. She does research all the time. Anytime Ilea sees anything that could be pertinent to the boat, she sends it. The wave of military people who are dying from overdoses from synthetic opioids is up 85%. So this is reaching every single aspect of our life. Why is it so dangerous? Well, for a lot of reasons. Number one, obviously, the substance itself is far too strong. And the way it's being sold, it's way too strong. The strength is enough to kill people who have really serious tolerances. People, I would have been dead. There's not a chance on God's green earth I would still be here if I was still in the life, because of the amount of stuff that I did. My substance is gone. It's no longer there. Okay. The problem is we say things to our kids like, whatever you do, don't do fentanyl, right? Whatever you do, don't do fentanyl. Do you think that the guy comes up and says, hey man, you want to buy some fent? Because that's not what happens. It may sound ignorant as hell, but I got addicted to tar heroin, not knowing what it was. A guy sold it to me and said, it's opium, right? And I was stupid enough to put it on tinfoil and smoke it, thinking that this was opium. I didn't know any better. I really didn't. And it made pain go away. It did a lot of things that I thought were excellent. And, for a couple of days, it was. And then it owned me. And by the time I found out what I was on, I went, yeah, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore, man. I'm done. And I went into my room, I locked the door, and I kicked. It was 7 hellaciously terrible days. And on day 9, right, after 2 days of the actual ordeal being over, everybody, all of my friends were like, man, it's awesome you came through that. You know what I mean? So glad that that's in the past. On day 9, my body was screaming for this garbage. I was so uncomfortable in my own skin, and the only thing that ever made that go away from that point on was that trash. And when the dollar amounts got astronomical, when it got to the point where I was having to do, a couple of balls a day, right? So 7 grams a day, I went to the needle because it was just cheaper. It became a thing of economics. And, no one ever says when they're 16, I can't wait to try a syringe. There's nobody on the planet that thinks that way. But it becomes purely economics. I couldn't afford, even making a lot of money, and at the time I just couldn't afford that habit. Back then it was about 140, 150 a G, and I was doing 7 of them. So I moved on to the needle, and slowly I disassembled every single thing about who I was. Everything about who I was, I destroyed at the tip of a needle. Today, the marketing plan is smuggle this stuff across the border and wrap it in something that kids already trust. One of the most abused drugs by kids on the planet is Adderall. Why? Because when they're 6 and 7 years old and the doctor prescribes for them ADHD medication, they're given Ritalin. And as they grow older and they start to build a tolerance up to that substance, they're then given the next in line, which is Adderall. And they come to realize very quickly that they've got a prescription that's worth a lot of money. So every kid out there is, selling off 1 or 2 here, selling off 1 or 2 there, giving away a couple. But Adderall is an unbelievably abused medication, especially from the ages of about 14 to 24. Absolutely abused. So what do? They make this stuff look like Adderall. Kids also have access. When I was young, the gateway drugs, and there are people who will argue this. I don't mean that the first drug that people tried, you don't have to call it whatever you want, but the first drug that people tried, was usually nicotine. And then, weed was next. THC was the next substance that people were going to take. And then they might experiment with, shrooms or acid or pills or whatever. But these days, the first exposure to drugs is more often than not weed. And I know that that's astounding to those of us that were in the drug game for any length of time. But these days, because of the information era, kids realize that they can hit mom's medicine chest or hit dad's medicine chest, right? Go into the bathroom and see what they got. Pills that are still in there. So they grab a couple of Percocets or they grab a couple of Vicodin, right? A couple of hydrocodone, whatever the case may be. And they experiment that way. That is how very often people are first getting their first exposure to, air quotes, recreational drug use. So the dirtbags south of the border, who are now making more money than most major corporations on the planet selling this stuff to us, have learned that all they got to do is make this stuff look like something they've already done. So very often we get this image in our head of, well, I don't got to worry about my kid, right? My kid's not a junkie. My kid, there's no way he would ever get far enough into there where he's going to be doing that stuff. 1 pill can kill. So when you talk to your kids about this stuff, you have to this is the minutia. Like, you have to sit down with them and say to them, you do realize that when the first time you have access to this, it's not going to have a big flashing sign that says, hey, don't do this. This is fent, right? This is nitazines. That's not how it works at all. They're going to see something that chances are they've seen before. And it's a pretty good knockoff. You know, it will pass for a Perk 30. It will pass for an Adderall. It will pass for a Xanax bar. And I'll tell you something, people, if you do any research at all, those are the 3 drugs that kids are going to do in pill form before they do anything else. Adderall, Xanax, and Perks. Those are the big 3. So they make the stuff look like a drug that a lot of kids already think is harmless. I've done those. I've done a Perk 30. Yeah, I was wasted for about 10 or 12 hours, but it was great. You know, I had fun. Well, the next time they get that pill, what are the odds that they're going to get a perk? If you take a look at what's floating around today on the streets, do you think there are more real perks or fake perks? Let me rephrase that. Have you heard anything about 370 million Perk 30s being prescribed in this country? Because that's what we caught last year. 370 million of those pills we caught. If you get somebody who is honest, and it happens from time to time, if you get someone that's honest, they'll tell you that their estimate is 20%. Right? 20% of what comes across the border, they're stopping. That means multiply that 370 million pills by 4. The odds that our kids, the odds that our friends, the odds that our aunts and uncles and sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers, all of these things, all of these people have an opportunity to die from this. So the conversation has to be, look, man, you get a pill bottle, it better have your damn name on it. It better have come from a doctor that wrote you a prescription, and you better have picked it up personally at the pharmacy. When you talk to your kids about this stuff, they have to realize that this is Russian roulette. If you talk to somebody and you explain to them the concept of what that is, you take a bang and you put it into the cylinder. 5 are empty. 1 has the potential to take your life. You spin it and you close it, right? That's how that works. This is more dangerous than that. Think I'm kidding? This is more dangerous than that. Why would I say that? I would say that because they're saying that somewhere in the ballpark of 6 out of 10 of the pills that they catch can kill you. That's 60%, right? So don't put 1 in the chamber. If you put in 3, you'd be at 50. This is the most dangerous thing that has ever faced our kids. This is the most dangerous thing that has ever faced our adults. I am heartbroken. Every single time there's a tragedy of any kind, I'm heartbroken. We just had a shooting at a university that was absolutely heartbreaking, and it didn't need to happen. You know, it didn't need to happen. That individual had been caught with a weapon, and they decided to downgrade it to a misdemeanor, which didn't show up then on a background check, and he was able to buy a gun. That is heartbreaking. And they're going to beat the piss out of that. Believe it. We're going to hear so much about that. And it's heartbreaking. But we're not going to hear, this is going to become a political issue, and they're going to talk about the Second Amendment. And that's all they're going to talk about. Since that happened, we've lost 1,000 people to this poison. 1,000. Where is the outrage? People, this is down to you, as my Australian friends would say. This is your responsibility. If we do not educate our kids, we will bury them. I can't make that any clearer. If we do not educate our kids, we will bury them. The odds that they're going to come in contact with this stuff is staggering. And don't think, well, my kid's way too smart to do fent. Is your kid too smart to do an Adderall? Is your kid too smart to do a Percocet? Or a Xanax bar? Or a Valium? Or maybe your kid already experimented. 3-4 years ago, they did a little blow. Well, it's now in blow. We did the story on here. I read it out to you people. 5 individuals bought cocaine for a party. They didn't make it 6 steps away from where they did the line. 1 human survived. 5 died. And they didn't make 2 steps. This stuff stopped their heart the second that stuff hit the back of their throat. They never felt the drip. They never felt a buzz. It was over. Like that. Now, with ISO, cool name, right? And I said, you remember talking about this? I said, they'll give it a name. They're not going to call it nits, or nitazines or whatever. It'll have a cool name. It'll be a new drug. It's got a cool name. Well, it's called ISO. And ISO is all over the place. I'm talking to people who are doing it, and it is, imagine taking this poison and then hopping it up even more. Buddha says, even if we educate them, we might bury them. It's too dark. I can't. You know what? The truth of the matter is this. You can educate them, and you still might lose them. If you educate them and you lose them, you're still going to hurt like there's no tomorrow. But if you don't educate them, if you don't have that conversation, and I mean have it often, God forbid you lose that child, the overwhelming sense of dread and guilt will kill you. It will disassemble you. We're fighting a battle we can't win. And you know what? If the attitude is, well, we can't win, why bother? Take it easy, right? I can get up and leave because this fight I'm doing 40 hours a week, I can't win either. It's not going to happen, right? Statistically speaking, if 100 of you listen to me, I'm going to be lucky if 10 to 15 make it. We know what we're fighting, but we got to fight it, right? You can't win everyone. You can damn well try to win everyone. You can't, your words may not get it done. No, it may not. But if you don't try, guaranteed your words won't do crap. You got to step up to the plate and you got to have that conversation, and it's ugly. And you know what? If you're uncomfortable having that conversation, call me. I'll have that conversation. This, people, is the most existential threat we have ever faced, ever, as a country. You realize that in the last 2 years, for the first time in my lifetime, life expectancy has dropped. The life expectancy has dropped. Medicine keeps getting better, right? The procedures keep getting better. Early diagnosis keeps getting better. All of these things continue to improve, yet life expectancy is dropping. And they'll BS you out the wazoo. They'll tell you, you know what caused that? The C+ math. Well, that's BS. The vast majority of people who perished from the C+ math either had many comorbidities or were very old. When very old people die, it doesn't drop the life expectancy. The life expectancy is dropping because we're losing our youth fast. We're using our losing our youth. We're losing them fast. And it's dropping our life expectancy. And for the first time ever, the CDC has stopped BSing, right? 2 weeks ago, the CDC came out and said the numbers aren't real. The numbers aren't real. Their numbers are 350. I'm still using them. Remember when I was saying 300? And Mark and I said, man, it ain't 300. Don't kid yourself, it's not 300. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. You can pick 5 cities and pick a holiday. And then just go and you can do the research. It's not hard. How many people OD'd this holiday, right? Whatever the holiday is, 4th of July, pick 5 cities, do the math. And then go, wait a second. So everybody that died must just be in these big cities, right? Nobody's dying anywhere else. Well, that's just simply not the case, right? Places like Ohio are getting decimated. West Virginia is getting decimated. Vermont is getting decimated. If the real numbers came out, you think they would step up to the plate? I don't think they would. I don't. We're putting enough money into the cartels south of the border that they could create an army and start fighting wars if they wanted to, because they're doing it already. South of the border, they're fighting wars down there. They are. It's absolutely barbaric. And you realize that people are taking it as entertainment. You can go watch videos of them torturing people. This is the world we live in. And we can go like this. Or you can grit your friggin' teeth and say, not my kid. If I got to have that conversation 600 times a day, how sick of hearing this do you think my daughter is? How sick do you think my kid is of listening to dad warn her or him right, from my son about this stuff. It is really, really ugly. This is where we're at. And if it's going to be, people, it's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to me. It's going to be up to all of us who care about our kids. And the conversation has to go like this. You got to understand, this isn't about drugs anymore. I'm not even lecturing you about getting high. That's not what this is about. We are at war. They're trying to kill us, and they're doing a very bang-up job. You need to understand that I'm not lecturing you about getting high. I'm lecturing you about poison. This is poison. People, I had a drug habit that Keith Richards would have told me to back off a notch. And I promise you, I couldn't do this stuff on the street today. I couldn't. Now, I'll tell you something. One of the sad things is that every city has got somebody that's bringing this crap in on their own. This is why this is sad. You understand you buy this stuff by the zip, right? You get an ounce. And you buy it from the beast from the east. You can still get it sent into this country. Do not let them BS you because it's happening. They buy it on the dark web or oftentimes even on regular internet access. They buy this stuff and they get it sent in. Now, you might have a dealer that cares. Truthfully. So they get an ounce and they go, all right, look, I'm going to take this thing down to a gram. And then I'm going to add 15 grams to it. And I'm going to mix this crap for 9 days. Like I am really going to work at making sure that there's no chance in hell that anybody's going to get a hot shot of this. You would think that's a good thing, wouldn't you? It's not. Because what happens is that dope gets in the hands of a lot of people and they go, this is safe. This is safe. The people that are packaging it the right way, the people that are doing it are just making it worse because the vast majority out there aren't. It's like an advertisement to help people die. You may be lucky. You may get a person that is really diligent in what they give out, but they won't always be. And that's just the way it goes. And you go, oh, I don't know, the guy really cares. Okay, what happens when they order the zip and it doesn't show up? It's 5 days late. And every junkie in the city is ringing their phone off the hook nonstop. Hey, man, I'm dying here, right? I'm driving to the other side of town to buy 10 bags. When are you going to have stuff? Give me 45 minutes. And that process that takes them days, they don't pull off in days anymore. You understand that this really has grown to a level that it's life or death. Every single time somebody gets high, their odds of checking out and leaving the planet is terrifying. And I know people, I know a ton of them, who are still in the life. I had a friend that said that this individual bangs it, puts it in a needle. And I said, you're not worried this is going to kill you, man? You're not worried? And he said to me, you know what I do? I do 2 cents, right? And in junkie speak, what that means is they take the syringe and the first 2 marks that come up, right? So they're doing 2 cc's, which is a very, very small amount. What they don't realize is that if you got the hot one, 2 cc's is going to kill you in a heartbeat. Like you can talk yourself into all of the mental gymnastics you want to about how I got a safe way of doing this. It's BS. There is no safe way to do fent. There isn't. And if you're in the life, and you're in the life for 1 of 3 reasons. You're so strung out you can't quit. That's a big one. You're in so much pain you can't quit. That's a big one. Or you're an idiot. Right? Those are the 3. If it's a pain thing, real fentanyl, fantastic painkiller. Alpha fentanyl, right? Stuff made in labs. Purdue Pharma, right? Makes a great delivery system for that. They use a patch that will leach into your system over a 72-hour period of time, and it will kill pain. And if you're in pain, you have a right to have it treated. But I'll tell you something. That's not the vast majority. The vast majority are too afraid of the pain that it's going to take to quit. I would encourage anybody that hears my voice to think of the pain of the people you're going to leave behind. For real. But more importantly, if you want to be a jackwagon and you want to leave this planet, it's completely your purview. You want to take yourself out. You want to risk your life every single day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day, nothing I'm going to say is going to stop anybody from doing that. But for God's sakes, talk to your kids. And any other kid willing to sit down and listen to you. Force them to listen. Because we are in a crisis that ain't going away. It's getting worse. And we've been saying this, people, when it was 280 people a day, we said they're lying. When it was 300 people a day, we said they're lying. And now it's 350, and I'm telling you right now they're lying, right? Even they're saying they're lying. The numbers are ridiculous. It's north of 400 people a day. 400 people a day. Nothing else in this country is killing 400 people a day. Nothing. We're well over 1 million deaths. Our only chance, hold on one second. 2018, one of my son's friends got busted with Narcan that he stole from my car. He got expelled back then. Today he'd be a hero. True story. True story. You know, there are schools right now where every hallway has Narcan in it. You know, like you break the glass when you're going to pull down the fire alarm. They've got Narcan in hallways in our schools. This is where we're at. Here's the crazy thing. There is a misplaced belief that kids don't listen to parents when it comes to things like drugs. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Truly. Now, are they going to roll their eyes? Are they going to do all of that? You betcha. You betcha they are. Yep, they're going to treat you like you're a jackass. But they will listen to you more than they will anyone else. Now, you don't give opinions. You don't say, this is what I think. You drag them to places where you can prove it. You know how long it takes to find out how dangerous this crap is? About 3 minutes with a laptop. 3 minutes. Make your kid look at it. Show your kid online what a Perk 30 looks like and what a fake Perk 30 looks like. A counterfeit watch, I got to have one in my hand, right? A good one, from 5 feet away, I can't tell you it's fake. I got to have it in my hand. There are counterfeit pills I could have in my hand and not tell you they're a counterfeit pill. And people, some of the crap that they're using right now to press into these pills, like fent wasn't bad enough. We got to go 50 times stronger than that. You can die handling ISO. For real. It's rising to the level of Carfent. I had to get a script for it, but I now carry Narcan with me in my medical bag everywhere I go. Good for you. Greg F., good to see you, bud. I told my parents about the guy rolling a joint in 5th grade, and they didn't believe me. I was smoking it 2 years later. I guess I was telling the truth. You know what, Franklin? I'm so glad you said that comment. Because now in 5th grade, the drugs that are being passed around are killing people. And there was a period of time where we didn't have to worry under 12. Honestly. Like 2.5 years ago, the statistics on fent overdoses under the age of 12 was usually accidental exposure. Somebody touched some that, they got a dad dealing dope and the kid touched the stuff or whatever. It was put in the wrong place and the kid ate a pill or whatever. That's not what's happening anymore. Now these kids are getting high on it. And I'll tell you something. I started my drug use pretty close to that age. Right? I don't remember whether I was 12 or 13 when I started doing dope. When I started doing drugs. Dope came a little later. But that's when I started doing drugs. People, I get emails all the time. How young is too young to talk to a kid about drugs? I don't know. 6? Think I'm crazy? If I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to err on the side of being wicked cautious. You hear me? I'm going to err on the side of a little too early versus a little too late. This is a conversation that I have with my daughter constantly. I have a niece who just had surgery. A pretty rugged surgery. And she's eating Tylenol because she knows that her uncle and her dad had very serious drug problems. And it has been hammered home so often that she's a genetic time bomb that she's not even willing to take the perks. that they wrote her a script for because she's afraid that she's going to get addicted to them. I would rather err on that side than don't worry about it, knock yourself out. We did a show where we talked about it on this channel. A girl who just had her wisdom teeth out, straight A student, never done anything, didn't party, didn't do anything. And they were driving and she said, you got to turn around and go back home. I got to get a painkiller. I'm dying, swollen. And the guy said, what did they write for you? And she said, Percocets. And the person in the car said, I've got one of those. And it killed her. Not a drug addict. Not even someone experimenting with drugs. Someone that just thought they were taking a painkiller. And I could tell stories like this till the end of this show. And every one of them is a stone cold fact. 2 honor students in Colorado, twin brothers, that just decided right around graduation that they were going to see what a Percocet did. They got a couple from friends. One night they ate one. Seemed like a pretty good time. The next night they both ate one and neither of them woke up. You can't have this conversation enough. Am I making that clear? You can't have this conversation enough. You cannot. This literally should be a once a week thing. Are your kids going to think you're a pain in the ass? Probably. Are they going to be alive in 2024? Because that's really the goal. This is about making sure that your kid sees 2024. Yes, Tommy, my daughter won't take my meds even after her surgeries. I'm really proud of the child, that the child took pain instead. You know what? I agree with you. I wrestle with it. I really wrestle with it because I am what I've done to my daughter. I've talked about my daughter on the boat before. My daughter has had 4 open heart surgeries. She was born with basically half a heart, and she's an absolute miracle. But she's had to have 4 open heart surgeries, and that girl does not want to take pain meds because not only does she get her dad beating this up and talking about it, so does her mom. And we're not tight. Me and her mother are not the best of friends. But boy, we're on the same page when it comes to that. She also was an opiate addict, addicted with the needle for a really long time. And there is no chance that she's not going to have that conversation and have it often. Sarah normally says, I wish I would have had something like this. Now I'm old. Too late. You know what? The beautiful thing is it's never too late. It really isn't. Until, right, you get a dose that takes you off the planet, it's never too late. And one of the things that, my brother says, Tommy was talking about my daughter. While I don't want to see her suffer, I am proud of her decision to avoid opiate. Me too. Wow. First case of xylazine in my area. First overdose with this stuff. People, every single thing they're sending in here is killing people. So you do benzos. They are hopping benzos up to the point where I was part of the Rohypnol generation. Roofies, right? And it's a drug that got it flunitrazepam. It got a lot of press because people used it as a date rape drug, and it got a lot of press because of that. But there was a time where people just took them. It wasn't, there were a lot of people who just got high on them. It was a drug that they liked doing, and they were the equivalent of 10 milligram Valiums. It was a really, really strong benzo. Now they've got bathtub benzos that are coming across from south of the border that make that stuff look like cotton candy. One of these things and you black out in a day and a half. Everything is engineered to kill. You understand what's happening? The beast from the east is in bed with the cartels, blowing huge amounts of money. Everybody's getting real wealthy, killing Americans. This is the conversation that has to happen. This is the conversation that has to happen. And it has to happen often. I only wish my parents would have had never have that talk with me. I wish my parents would have had the nerve to have that talk with me. I wish my parents knew enough to have that talk with me. My parents told us not to do drugs constantly, but that's not good enough. 3 friggin' syllables doesn't save a child. Just say no. Doesn't get it done. The no has to be spelled with a K. You have to sit down and you have to educate the crap out of your kid. Are they, like Buddha said, are they gonna experiment anyway? Probably. That's the reality. But if they experiment and don't die, then you won the lottery. That's the world we're in. It's not. There was a time where my response to my son getting into the age of experimentation versus my daughter getting into the age of experimentation, it's like two completely different universes. You know what I mean? My son would call me and say, I tried this or I tried that. And I would say to him, oh man, I don't want you understand why I don't want you doing this stuff. And I explained to him the dangers of each drug. Thank God he's still alive. But he's still alive because of when he was born. If my daughter did the same kind of experimentation, she'd be gone already. I promise you, she'd be gone. Because that is the way that this is. We're no longer in a world that's safe to do dope. We really aren't. And the craziest part of this, and I know people don't believe this, but the craziest part of this is I'm not anti-drug. I'm not. I've never been anti-drug. I'm anti-addiction. If I was capable of doing this stuff, I would probably be doing this stuff. I'm an addict. I'm not capable, right? I know that. I have a disease. Makes it so that I can't do any of this crap. So my fight is to help people who have that disease. When I started the Lifeboat, go back and watch the early shows of the Lifeboat. See if I was telling anybody to not do dope. Because if you can go out and get high and do what you do, I don't care, right? I'm anti-addiction. Now I'm anti-drug. There's no longer any choice, right? Now you have to preach abstinence. When I educated my son, it was a completely different conversation, and it can't be that conversation anymore, man. Tommy Bird, my dad, died of alcoholism at 66. The year before he died, he was in a bad way. When I visited, he gave me a neat vodka. Wow. Full of hope. It's heart-wrenching. It really is. That is absolutely heart-wrenching. He could never blame drink. He said his problem was us. Well, his problem was drink, and I hope that you are well aware of that. Hope you are well aware of the fact that the problem didn't have a damn thing to do with you. One of the really absolutely insidious things about alcohol is that it gives people an excuse other drugs do not. Right? Nobody acts like a jackass and goes, sorry, I did a little blow last night. You know what I mean? It's not my fault. But how many times you've heard someone say, sorry, I was drunk. Well, that's not a friggin' excuse. If you're a jackass, you're a jackass, whether you were drunk, sober, anything, right? Jackass is jackass. Must be the hat. I have the lack of hat. I have a message apparently from Linda. It's about time, Linda. Oh, no. Swiss, I am so sorry to hear that. I really am. So Swiss Vape is lost a friend today to the same war that we're talking about. The people, believe me when I tell you that in season 2, not a week has gone by. Not 1 week has gone by that somebody didn't reach out and say to me, we just lost a friend of mine to this. Not 1 week in season 2. This is next year at this time, I'm going to be saying 2 a week, 3 a week. It's not about getting high anymore. It's about them trying to kill us. And if you think I'm paranoid, then you're ignorant. There's no other way to look at it. And I don't mean stupid. I mean uneducated, right? Not aware of what's going on. People, it is basic dope slinging 101. Dead people can't buy from you, right? Dead people can't buy from you. Don't make your product so damn strong that it kills people or they can't buy more, right? Pretty basic. Yet every single time they test a batch, it's stronger than the last one. What does that tell you? It tells you that you had better start talking to people, and I mean quickly, everybody you care about. How do you cope hearing that every day, Tommy? I'll be really honest with you. I have come to believe that, and you know, if this offends you, then it is what it is. But I have come to believe that there are people on this planet who are supposed to be doing something, right? There are people who should be playing the guitar. Eddie Van Halen was not meant to be a school teacher. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And in my head, a decent amount of this is penance. I pissed away a lot of really decent talents. I could be in Washington trying to fix this thing if I wasn't such a degenerate in the first half of my life, right? I have the ability to communicate, and I have passion about the subject. This is all I can do, right? My record is not going to allow me to do anything other than what I'm doing right now, right here. I spend a lot of time talking to God, and all of these little things that I tell you people, I do them every day. I look in the mirror and I say, we lost another one, but you know what? Somebody else is going to get saved today. And I don't do this for the ones that we lose. I do this for the ones that we save. And today, another person got on medical assisted treatment. Today. And there's hopefully another one tomorrow. I mean, it almost happened today, but it didn't. But we're pulling people out of the fire. And that's what keeps it going, you know? And then there are times that I get so bummed out that it feels like I don't want to do this, and it gets overwhelming. And I'll be honest, Lady Crispin helps an awful lot. Alan Ballantyne helps an awful lot. My brother Johnny helps an awful lot. There are people that I lean on. I got a 5 just like you guys got a 5. And I reach out and talk to those people. Hey, ZW, good to see you. I will have to watch later as I have a friend over. She's got 9 years sobriety. Nice. You got to love that. That is not somebody we got to worry about. Right? They're not in the life. They're not in the life. And you know what? People, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, I got a 7th son reached out today with a really nice message telling me to take a break. Get a deep breath and get a little sun on you. And it was great advice. It really was. And I understand that every time people say something like that, it comes directly from the heart. You know that? I needed to hear that too, Johnny. I really needed to hear that. You know, but I know that as much as this sometimes is really rugged, you know what it's like on the day off? Honestly. Number one, I can't vent. Right, because this is my therapy. You people are. I'm on the couch, and you guys are basically my therapists. That's number one. And number two, you get this feeling in your head that, you know what, that day that I take off, that's going to be the day that somebody's window is open, and they're going to come by and go, you know, they don't have a live one today. It's 1 hour a day. You know, the time that I put in when I'm not doing this gets a little bit tougher. But there's nothing more rewarding than what I do on the planet. Nothing. I've made a lot of money before doing things. I've made some disgusting money in my life doing even legal things, but nothing has ever been more rewarding than what I do. You know, nothing is more rewarding than what I do. This what I do right here on the boat is hands down the most rewarding thing that I could ever do. And the day is coming. I promise you. The day is coming where this is going to be far more of my life than my job. There are things in the works right now, people, that are going to make this so that the lifeboat will become far bigger than it is. And I don't mean in terms of the number of people and all that. Honestly, I stopped giving a crap about that a hot minute ago. I mean, we're not a silver play button kind of channel, but we're saving people's lives. And there are some things coming down the pike, things that I'm working on. And sadly, because of my challenges, and I'm getting better at it. I really am. See this thing? Never had one of these. All right. So I'm playing with this thing all the time, and I'm getting better. So the day is coming where this thing is gonna really take on kind of a life of its own. And there are some very interesting things. I went back and I did something that I talk all of the time about to to you people. When things start getting down, when you really start feeling like you're getting your butt kicked, right? And you start feeling like, you have those days where you think that I may not be able to keep doing what I'm doing, or I may not be able to pull this off, or this isn't going to work. The first thing you do is you figure out what your assets are, right? And then you figure out what your liabilities are. And if there's something you're really bad at, you try to farm it out. And if there's something that you're really good at, you try to take advantage of it. I worked with a company called Mustang at one time. I wrote the #1 direct response infomercial in history. True story, right? Marketing was something that I did. And I worked as a public speaker, and I had never tried to market the lifeboat. And this occurred to me recently that if I want to save more lives, then I got to take my assets, the things that I'm actually pretty good at, and try to put it into this. This isn't a business, but I'm going to treat it like one, because there is a lot more that we can do to help people. But I'll tell you something. I get emails every day from people who are generous to a fault. If you knew the number of people on the lifeboat that have reached out and said, tell me what you need. You ever need more money, just call me. The number of you that did that, you would be blown away at the number of people that have reached out to me and said, tell me how much, and whenever you need it, I'm here. Everything that, right now, the memberships take care of it. And if that becomes outstripped, I'm going to come up with another method. But right now, the number of you who are buying memberships are actually taking care of it. It really is. We don't run out of money. Not for helping people do medical assisted treatment, but we're going to step it up. There's other things that are coming down the pike. But the question that I get other than that is there anything that I can do? You can talk to every single person you know who is under the age of 18, even if they're not your friggin' kids. That's what you can do. That is what you can do. You can talk to every single kid you can get access to. And if you feel uncomfortable, I will do a show where I don't say anything stupid, and you guys can take the kids to that show. AKA Heather Joy, thank you. I love that. Chris S., welcome. You have been gifted a membership. I love it. I really do. I love it. And you know what, people? I think that this kind of subject matter is probably going to be stuff that I do on my days off, because there aren't really days off anymore. I'm not taking days off. I'm not. If I get burnt, I promise you I will. But the hour a day, I would rather not take the days off. They stress me the hell out, to be really honest with you. So, but on those days, that's probably when I'm going to hammer this kind of stuff home. And there was a lot of talk in the beginning. There's going to be I'm in the process of making a new intro like we used to have, where I say mean people suck and that kind of stuff. And then I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV and all of that. So that is getting put together right now. There's a new kind of intro and everything else going. And there's rules concerning, we don't want people cursing in the comments section. And I think that's probably a pretty good rule. And no one's gonna hack on the crew. You start talking about the crew, you're blocked, you're banished. You want to call me an ass, whatever, I can take that. But I'm not going to let people talk about the crew. The other thing is this. I'm not taking politics off the table. I'm not. This is not going to be a political show. It's never going to be a political show. But I'm not going to take politics off of the table anymore. I don't want it in the comment section. I don't want it to get crazy unless it's the night that we talk about it. I don't want to come here and talk about dope and have people talking about Trump. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'll be damned if I'm not calling out the people that are allowing this to happen. For real. We're a couple of years away from an opportunity to throw these jackasses out of office because they need to go. They need to go. They have allowed this to happen. In fact, if you didn't know better, you'd think they were trying to make it happen. But they are certainly allowing it to happen. And I'm not going to go, you don't have to worry about me becoming Rush Limbaugh or anything else. But I am not going to sit in silence while they try to destroy this country. I'm not. They're allowing this crap across the border. They have made it so that the number of people working on our southern border who are taking their own life because they're not allowed to do their friggin' job is through the roof. And what do? We throw money at them. Here's $26 million. That's what was in the omnibus. $26 million to help those people try not to take their own life. I got a better idea. Let them do their friggin' job and watch how fast they stop taking their own lives. You know why they're taking their own lives? Because every day they're reading about the number of kids who are dying on this crap. And they're going, this was my job. And they didn't let me fix it. I could have stopped that. Can you imagine having that job? My hat is off to you. If you are a border agent and you are listening to this, God bless you for the work that you do. God bless you for the work that you do. But I hope they take the handcuffs off. And I hope that they let you do your job. Right? Because the guy we got in the office is an absolute bum and he's got to go. And I'm sorry. That's all I got to say about that. But he's a bum. Or he's bought and paid for. He's either the dumbest man on the planet or he's bought and paid for. And you can make your decision up on that one. That is completely up to you. But that's where it is. And there's just no way to avoid that. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm never going to say I don't believe in God because people are offended by the fact that I believe in God. And I'm not going to say that this guy's, I'm not playing that game. And the truth of the matter is, I am not on the other side of the aisle. I'm not. I am the lifeboat party, and the first cat that says we're going to stop this crap from coming in here, I will campaign for that person. I'm not kidding you. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, I will take a few days off, and I will go down and sit on a telephone and make phone calls for the first guy or gal that wants to fix this. Because right now, nobody gives a crap. And until somebody does, then it falls down to us, peeps. It falls down to us. Have a conversation. If you're one of the people, and I'm looking out right now, and I swear to you, I have seen 7 names, right? So far, 7 tonight of people who said, I'll give you money. I'll happily give you more money, right? You want to help? Share any video that we're talking about this as far and wide as you can share it. Scoob, big shout out to Scoob, who was the first share on the short that I did today. Within 2 minutes of it going up, Scoob had shared that out already. And I thanked her, and she said, you know what? It's a poison. People got to know about this. That puts wind in my sails. It really does. That puts wind in my sails. Our government has sold us all out. No question. No question. And here's the thing, people, right? Dun, 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 and look over here. Cat! That's exactly how it's going on, right? We got hot air balloons. How many times are you going to hear about this crap, right? We got hot air balloons. Or are they aliens? Or are they... It's all smoke and mirrors. Every single story we get that they run with for 14 days in a row is to deflect from the fact that there are more than 400 people a day in this country dropping dead because they're letting it happen. Sorry. The only thing we can do is continue to beat the drum and to talk to every single kid we got a shot at talking to. That's it. It's our job. It is our job, right? For some reason, I don't get the notice for the morning video until it's already been about 4 hours long. Well, that just plain sucks. Miss V, here's the deal. I'll make this easy on everybody. I go live at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? I reached out to everybody on the boat, and everybody on the boat said they much prefer a live show in the morning to a video because it gives everybody an opportunity to sort of lift each other up in the morning. I'm cool with that. So I get up at about 4:45. The video goes off at 5. So it's every 12 hours, right? 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night. 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night. That's it. I'm also going to be posting a short, probably about 5 days a week. That's going to go up near 11 o'clock because they say that that's the best time to put up a short. And we're hoping that maybe somebody hears one of them and stops by and hits a membership and figures out that this is pretty important stuff. You know, it really is. It's pretty important stuff. West Coast time. Correct, Buddha. West Coast time. Which doesn't matter anyway because you're lazy. So... You know what I mean? If it was on your time, it's like you're up at 5 o'clock. Come on, people. I mean, I love Buddha, but let's be honest. I pick on Buddha because he's a Massachusetts guy. I kind of freaked when I saw the white Potter fall out of the first one that they shot down, though. Tommy Bird, I swear to you, I said the exact same thing. Conky Dong says, 2 parties working to ensure that the worker bees are divided, distracted, uninformed, and easy to manipulate. Systems working exactly as intended by those in power. No question. No question. There's no way to argue with that. There is no way to argue with that. Let's do everything we can to make sure that whites hate blacks, blacks hate whites, right? Guys who think the Second Amendment, that you should be able to own a gun, well, they're evil. And the people who think that the gun should be taken away, well, they're evil. Make sure everybody hates each other. Because if they're all hating each other, it's just like prison. Just like prison. Make sure that the races hate each other. Seriously, the staff won't let you sit. Q and I could not sit at the same table in the chow hall. Wasn't allowed. Why? Because they don't want us getting along. Because if we got along, we might just decide to take the place over. Right? I mean, honestly, what do you got? 60 cops and 1,300 guys? Yeah, they don't want us getting along. They want us fighting each other as much as possible. Well, that's America. They don't want us getting along. You see, if we all get along and we all realize that we are the exact same people, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter whether you're gay, straight, any of that garbage. That's all. The minutia. Back up, right? Don't get up into the and do this number. Back up about 60, 70 feet, and we're all the same. And if we all just got together for about 15 minutes, they'd shut that friggin' border down. Believe that. Because there's nobody in America that likes the concept of dope cruising across that border at breakneck speed. Sorry I'm late. Haven't felt well today. Body aches all over. And stomach is upset and feel fatigued. Rip, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Take care of yourself. There is a reason you all saw that. The coat, the inside of the... they coat the inside with white powder so that the balloons inside don't fold over and stick together. At least that's what I was told by a man that builds them. Interesting. I guess that kind of makes sense. Love is the true way. Damn right, Sarah Normally. Great comment. You know what? Well, some prayers for Rip Curl. Rip's a good guy. I can't stand the idea that he's not feeling well. For real. By the way, Alan Ballantyne's doing great. I asked you all to pray for Alan, and the details are his business, but just know that he went to the doctor and everything is good. And that's about the best news that I've heard in a really long time. I care really deeply for that man. I really do. He's one of my favorite people. He's an ace. The guy's an ace. I mean, no two ways about it. So, all right, peeps. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up. But you know, we're fighting the battle, and we're fighting the battle we're gonna lose. It's the way it is, you know. But if maybe the better way to put it is, we're fighting the war that we're going to lose. But let's win some battles, right? Let's win some battles, because that's really what it's all about, right? Let's win some battles, and let that battle be your kids, right? Your nieces and nephews, your grandchildren, right? Your cousins. Your parents, your sisters and brothers. Let that battle be a winner. You know, I'd like to go a week without hearing that we lost somebody. That would just be freaking great. That would be awesome. That would. And I'll tell you, I promise to all of you, I am going to continue to come here and tell you when I'm hurting. I promise you. I appreciate everybody that reaches out and tells me to take a break. Amen to every word you've said tonight. My youngest is 19. I will call him at the end of this video. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? 19. Going to make the phone call at the end of this video. You know what? If it's uncomfortable, reach out to me. You can find me in a million places. Send a comment. I'd be more than happy to help. That's what we got to do, people. That's what we got to do. And you never know. We may win. Yeah, we may win the war if we stick together, Rip. I agree with you on that. I really do. If we could all stick together, I think we could win this war. I do believe that. Sadly, we will decide to argue because somebody used a word that people didn't like, and they'll try to cancel people off the planet for it and all kinds of that stupid stuff. And all of that is by design. That cancel culture and every single bit of it, it's all by design. It's all meant just to keep us fighting one another. Hey, Bert, God bless you, man. God bless you. That is such a great comment. Boy, what a way to end this one. I mean it. What a way to end this one. That makes me feel really, really phenomenal. This hour was well spent. This hour was well spent. All right, peeps. Greg F., I hope you're doing better, brother. You're in my prayers. And you know what? Everyone else, Greg could use some prayers. He's having some issues with his eyes, and, yeah, let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. We're much love going out to you, Greg. I'm good at getting canceled, says Christopher Allen. You know what? I seem to be able not to. They've tried. Make no mistake, they've tried. All right, peeps. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. And I'm going to be back tomorrow night. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. And 12 hours from right now, I'll be sitting in this chair doing my morning live feed. So if you want to get up in the morning and you want to start your day focused on staying sober and fighting the good fight, meet me here in 12 hours. I'll be here. Alrighty? And here she comes. This is a cat in a basket. You see that head position? Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry, squirrel. She's very, very happy with the new padding, by the way. All right, peeps, I love you. We'll see you on deck. Bye-bye.